Going on to, my name is JVIT and welcome back to another video inside of Destiny 2 The Witch Queen, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys on the complete raid guide for the Garden of Salvation raid, which is a raid that was released with the Shadowkeep expansion back in October of 2019, and I'm going to show you guys on the entire raid guide on how to beat every single raid encounter, the mechanics, the challenges, the chest locations, and much more on this raid. And there's also a guided games version of this. I mean, why would you want to do guided games? It's only for, like, if you want to teach people how to do it, of course. But yeah, we're gonna go over on how you guys can, of course, beat the full Garden of Salvation raid guide. I remember telling you guys that I promised that I would actually make a raid guide about this earlier, but I never got the chance to do it. And I actually did have other footage, but I had to get my phone data erased. But besides all that, we're gonna get into this raid guide. I know you guys have been waiting, but now it's finally here. Anyways, let's get into the Garden of Salvation raid guide. Let's not waste any time, let's get right into it.
They take us for fools. The artifact you brought back from the pyramid began emitting a signal, one that reaches deep into the Black Garden. Once again, we are beckoned into their trap. They expect us to follow the signal, to discover where it leads. Fine. We will play their games, but this time with caution, not curiosity.
So now, once you land on the moon, you're actually going to start from the entrance where you kill the Nightmare Hunt of Zydron, the Gate Lord. Is actually where the raid is going to take place. You're actually going to go inside that giant portal. First, there's going to be a few ways of Vex, kind of like when you do the Divinity questline. I did make a video on Divinity, and I'll put it up right now. You guys want to check that out, and it'll be in the description below if you guys want Divinity as well, because a lot of people still want Divinity. But, well, like I said, make sure you guys kill these Vex if you want the portal to be open. For me, like some Harpies and some Minotaurs, and I actually did die because I wasn't paying attention to my health, and yeah, I just wasn't paying attention to my health, that's all. But once you kill all these Vex, the portal is actually going to be open, and you are free to go in. Once you go into the portal, there's going to be a staircase that's going to lead you into the first encounter, so take that staircase, and we're not going to go over any of the Divinity puzzles in this video. That is actually in the Divinity video I posted. I'll put them links in the description below if you guys still need Div, of course. But track the unknown artifact signal. You actually need to go find the Consecrated Mind. This is actually the first encounter of the raid. Anyways, let's not waste any more time. Let's actually go over on how the mechanics of this raid actually works. Let's go. So let's start with the very first encounter of the raid, track the unknown artifact signal, which all starts with the first encounter, of course. Now, the main goal of this encounter is to actually, I'm going to talk about two mechanics. These are the two mechanics that this is for the primary encounter. Tether boxes, and then the Voltaic Overflow, aka the Spit. So, let's go over on how this encounter actually works, shall we? So, as you can see, there's the Consecrated Mind right here. There is actually two ways to start the encounter. One, you can open the giant blue door that's on the far right using the tether box mechanic, or two, you can kill the Minotaur that's below the Consecrated Mind's mouth, which, yeah, I don't know, it looks a little weird. But, anyways, to actually start off the encounter, like legitimately, the tether box, as you can see, there's a tether box on the right of me. Now, it can spawn in 3 different locations. There can be one that by the giant tree right next to the Consecrated Mind, or it can be above a pillar. I show it actually in this video, just if you guys are confused later on in the video where the tether boxes are. But basically what you need to do is when you shoot the tether box, it's going to glow up. It's going to glow. Sorry, not glow. Glow, and once you stand near it, you're going to actually be tethered. What this means is that you are pretty much immobilized from shooting your guns and whatnot. The only thing you can do is jump and walk and run. That's the only thing you can do. You can't hit, you can't shoot, you can't do anything. What you're supposed to do with this tether box is it's going to create a line through you. Basically, the tether box is going to connect to you, kind of. What you need to do is when you stand near the tether box, you actually need to connect to 2 or 3 other people to connect to the relay that's at the end of the door. There's a giant little black plus at the end of the door, as you can see on the bottom center. What you need to do is, like I said, connect everyone in order, but One thing to know is that this tether box actually has its limits. So here's what I mean. When you stand near the tether box, you are actually, of course, going to be tethered, but you have a limit amount of space to move around, of course. So if you were to move up, you can see that the tether box is gonna the tether line, which is the line that connects from the tether box to you. It's actually gonna grow thinner, and the thinner it gets, it's gonna turn red. And if you keep stretching out too far, then it's gonna break the tether box, which you don't want that to happen. It'll happen a lot, trust me, in most encounters. So what you need to do is have two other guys stand in front of you, spread out just a little bit so you can maintain space between you and your fire team. You only need about like 3 guys to do this, depending on where the tether box is, but we did 4. So to open the door, that's what I'm going to do. So here's an example. See Protein Shaker and Ghibli? They're kind of close to each other. So what they need to do is Ghibli or Protein needs to actually spread out a bit so they have more room to connect to each other. Because, yeah, like I said, if you're too far out and the tether box is red, then it's going to break. So, see, look at this. So Zanice is going to connect to Ghibli. And Ghibli is going to connect to me. See, Zanice has the red tether box there. And then Protein Shaker is going to connect to the door. Alright, other than that, let's actually go over the main mechanic of the encounter for if you are starting on Team 1. Eventually, you're actually going to have to do this too if you're on Team 2. It's actually going to be a rinse and repeat mechanic. What's going to happen is the boss is going to start moving around and start dropping this white blobby stuff called Voltaic Overflow. What this stuff will do is it's actually the wipe mechanic of the raid. If you do not pick it up in 5 seconds or less, it'll actually wipe the entire encounter. And another thing to know is it's a 2-minute and 30-second timer. And also, one more thing to mention, if you don't, if you pick it up, it's actually a debuff that only kills you once you pick up another stack. So be careful with that. If another stack drops, let's say for example another stack drops, but all 3 players on that specific side, so let's say Team 1, all 3 players on Team 1 have already got spits. It's totally okay if you pick up a 4th spit. This only happens if Team 2 is slow with opening the door, of course. This will happen like almost all the time. Rare. Actually, I say rarely because me and my team usually get it down to like 2 or 3 spits. But basically, yeah, make sure you pick up the spit. Don't let it. You need to make sure you're always picking up the spit. Basically, it's almost like taking strength from last one. See, someone died there because they had a Voltaic Overflow do it. But like I said, it's totally fine if you pick up another spit as long as no one else is picking it up, and if you have res tokens. This is mainly for a res token thing. But yeah. Because if you don't pick it up in 5 seconds, it's just gonna, boom, gonna explode. Here, I'll have an example right up here. It's gonna explode just like this. Boss is moving, no one's gonna pick it up. Yeah, 5 seconds to pick it up. And if you don't pick it up, it's gonna be a wipe just like that. Now, another thing to know about the spits is you can decide on who's going to pick up the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, of course, and that was the other tether box I showed you guys. It's totally okay on who decides to pick up the spit. So like Team 1, like let's say I'm Team 1, I pick up the 1st spit, and the 2nd guy picks up the 2nd spit, and then the 3rd guy picks up the 3rd spit. So you can decide on that as well, just to make it easier to also make it easier just to write in the chat on the Destiny 2 team chat. So yeah, that's pretty much a bit about the spits, but that's not it until we get to the 3rd encounter, because that'll actually be very important for 3rd encounter. Remember, like I said, I actually didn't mention this, but the tether box mechanic is actually going to be very important for the all the other encounters. So just remember that. I'll explain more of it as we go along the next 3 encounters as well. But anyways, like I said, let's actually go over Team 2's job as well. So if you're Team 2, you're going to start at the blue door. Team 1's always going to start in the semicircle. They're going to so Team 1's going to start off picking up spits. Team 2's actually going to be killing ads. And the doors mechanic, which, I mean, I won't really consider it a mechanic since it actually is equal to the tether box mechanic. But yeah, the tether box can spawn in different locations inside the map. You just gotta look for it. I'm not gonna really go over the locations in these encounters because I mean they're pretty easy to find. You just gotta. I will say this: they're always gonna be near the door. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. So as you can see, I was standing on that pillar there. There's a tether box there, and that's the relay. what you're going to do is going to connect everyone. I know I just repeat all this like 20 times already, but just in case I missed anything, let me know in the comments down below. What we're going to do is we're going to shoot the tether box, and that's the boss right there. Let's actually go over Team 2's job. Now, what are you doing if you're doing Team 2's job? Well, this is going to be actually very easy. While Team 1 is picking up the voltaic overflow, Team 2, which is the blue door location, they're actually in charge of killing all the ads in the room and killing angelics. I'll talk about those in a second. And looking for tether boxes to open up the doors. There is an overload in this encounter. There's actually like a few, and I think there's like 5 or 6 or something, but because there's some at the end of this encounter. But basically what you're going to need to do is you're going to kill every single ad in this room. There's hobgoblins, goblins, a few cyclopses. There's a challenge here where you can't kill any of the cyclopses if you want to beat the actual. Now there are some exceptions for killing the cyclopses, of course, but we're not going to go over that in this video really much, but that's one of the challenges. As you can see, we killed the angelic. What the angelic does, it actually blocks the tether box from, so we can't shoot the tether box because it's going to block it off with an invisible barrier instead of just the normal tether box like when you can shoot it. But after you kill the angelic, you're going to connect to the door, and that is where Team 1 was at. The boss is actually going to teleport to the next room over where the boss was just at. So from Team 1 to Team 2's position. So now Team 2 is going to pick up spits. And like I said, it's the exact same thing from what Team 1 just did. You just got to follow the boss, make sure it's kind of like babysitting him, babysit the boss kind of, and you just pick up the spit he drops. Unfortunately, he can drop a spit near the edge, which would be terrible if you were doing a flawless run. So be careful on that if you're doing a flawless run, and if you're watching this video while doing a flawless run, I guess. But I'm sure you aren't, because you guys know how to do garden. But yeah, there's some cyclopses in here. Like I said, there's a challenge where you can do. Just don't kill any of the cyclopses. There are some exceptions where you can kill some cyclopses that just require you to kill all the ads in the room. But don't kill any of the cyclopses that only spawn when the Consecrated Mind is active in your location. So what you're going to do is the boss is moving. He's going to drop these spits. He's going to do his turret phase thing where he shoots at you a few times. This is a little non-lethal, but if you get hit too many times without a well, then you will die. So be careful of that. They don't hit hard depending on what level you are, which this level, I think this raid user was like a 960 back in, actually no, I think it was like 900 something, I can't remember. But see, I'm going to pick up this spit right here. I got voltaic overflow for about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. He's going to teleport to the next room over, and then this is where, now this time, since he teleported, that means Team 1 did doors for us, and now Team 1's going to pick up spits again. So it's going to go Team 1 spit, and then Team 2 doors, and then it switches. Now Team 1 is doing doors, and Team 2 is doing spit. And then it switches one more time, where Team 1 does spit again, and Team 2 do doors. So, in general, you could say that Team 1 is doing spit about, I would say, 3 times. Well, yeah, 3 times, because there's this giant catwalk thing at the end of the raid encounter, which we'll go over in a second. And then Team 2 does spits, I think like 3 times as well. So they do, everyone does equal amount. So it's going to be 2-2, basically. But Team 1's always going to start off with spits instead of Team 2. Team 2's going to always do doors, and it's going to switch. So yeah, that's going to be what you're basically doing in this encounter. Like I said, this is not too much to say about this first encounter. It's a very, very easy encounter indeed. You just got to understand the mechanics well, and if you can understand the mechanics, and that's good. That's really good, and then you'll understand the raid a lot faster. Not too much to say, but I can show you a quick preview on what it's like being in Team 1 on this third room. So let me show you guys on how that's done really quick. Now, once the boss finally teleports in this third room, that means this time there's actually 3 relays on this final room. If you actually activate 1 out of the 3, the boss will teleport from the third room to the actual catwalk, which is like the final part of the encounter. What you're gonna do is there's 3 tethers. You're gonna make your way over there where the Cyclopses are. If you wait too long, it's okay. The door will actually open on its own. You can do it either just waiting until the Consecrated Mind's like, hey, let's open the door for these guardians so I can wipe them with the Voltaic Overflow or something. I don't know. I'm just making up a scenario. But basically, what you're gonna do is see as we're just waiting. You can either wait a while. It'll take a little while, about a minute or something, or you can use the tether boxes to use on the relays to make it faster. See, there's 1 relay up there. If we have the tether box. We can activate that relay. Overall, a pretty easy encounter, guys. There's not too much to say. Like I said, there's a challenge for this. If you kill any of the Cyclopses, it will fail the challenge, except there are some exemptions where you can kill some of the Cyclopses. But other than that, let's keep going. Once you make it up to this area, the Consecrated Mind is going to spawn 3 more spits. It does not matter. It would only matter if this is a flawless run, but anyone can pick up these 3 spits. It doesn't even matter if you have Voltaic Overflow, because these are the last 3 spits, and when you beat the encounter. There's going to be a ton of Cyclopses. This is actually where the challenge will actually mostly fail on this part, because there's so many. You could accidentally kill one. There's a few overloads, so make sure you have an overload bow or an overload machine gun like Thunderlord or Trinity Ghoul. But overall, pretty easy encounter and a pretty beautiful catwalk, I must say, with the red roses and all the flowers all over the place. Very nice raid encounter. That is a very easy raid encounter, guys. I hope you guys did stay with this first raid encounter. Not too much to say, but once you guys make it to the end, the boss is gonna spawn on the way to the top. Do not try to stand underneath him, because he'll kill you once he descends up. Anyways, that's gonna be it for first encounter. Make sure you grab your loot, and I will see you guys when we get over to the second encounter. There's actually a chest and a jumping puzzle on this next encounter. Anyways, I'll see you guys when we get to the second encounter, and you guys enjoy.
Guardian down. 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 Guardian down.
Okay, now we are at the second encounter, which is the draw out the Consecrated Mind encounter. Basically, you actually need to lure the Consecrated Mind into the middle, where behind the barrier door where There's one more relay tower. Now let's go over on how this mechanic actually works for the entire raid. There are 4 relay towers on each point. Think of this giant map as a giant baseball field, except yeah, each point is a relay tower. So this one's 1 right here. This is your starting point. You're going to go from 1 to 2. 2 is left, and then you're going to go from 3 to 2. You're facing 2, and then you're going to go to the right, which is 3, and then you're going to go to the right again, which is 4, and then back to 1, basically. But this is not how it's don't think of that as a baseball field. It's going to be a lot different. Instead, we have 2 jobs: defenders, runners. Defenders, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be staying at their position as all time. They're just going to be defending from oncoming adds, and they're going to be getting this buff called Enlightened from the help of the 2 runners. Let's go more of that into detail. Now, you need to decide on who's being defender 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 is the underbrush, which is the one in front of us. 2, which is on the far left, is the thicket. 3 on the top, which is way past the barrier door. It's literally on the opposite side of 1. As you see, 1 is right in front of us. This one's 1. And then 4 is on the far right. So you need to decide on who's defending each of those platforms, and you got to get a buff called Enlightened. Let's go more into detail on that, and I'll show you guys the map on how it actually works. As you can see, there's a tether box on each side. Each side's going to have a tether box right near the barrier door, all 4 sides. And this is going to be very important because this is actually how you get the Enlightened buff. Now, why do you need the Enlightened buff exactly? Well, as you can see, there's going to be some ads coming. This encounter is actually is literally similar to the Vaults of Glass conflicts, except there's a lot more going on. So as you can see, here's the giant map. You got the tether boxes, which are the little yellow dots with the blue outlined square on it, and then you got these blue looking oval shaped lights. Those are the portals. Now, what are the portals for anyway? So if you are running, you are actually going to be open the portals, but the portals are going to stay closed for a reason. So in order to actually open the portals, you need to actually enlighten a specific side. So the portal, if you are facing 1 and you see the 2 portals that are on 1, which is literally below the first one, you can see on the map. As you can see, if you're looking at the left and the right, in order to open up the left portal, you need to enlighten 1 and 2, because if you just enlighten 1, you can't go through the portal until you enlighten 2, which makes sense. So you can literally just go back and forth between 1 and 2. And then if you want to enlighten 3, you have to do 2 and 3, because if you want to enlighten 2 and 3, then the runner who's doing 2, well, it wouldn't make sense, because you have to have 2 runners. One runner's doing 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is the underbrush in the thicket, which is, those are the 2 spots that 1 and 2, the runner 1 and 2 is going to be in line only, and there's going to be another runner, which is 3 and 4. 3 and 4 is the hedges and the alcove. Alcove's on the right, and then the hedges are the top, the far top. And then the pavilion, which is the middle, which you have to open by actually another mechanic we'll talk about in a second, which is very similar to the first encounter's mechanic. So basically, to start this encounter, throw your grenade or do whatever to activate the ads from sacrificing. Don't let them sacrifice, because if too many sacrifice to the conflux, very similar to Vault of Glass's raid mechanic for confluxes, then it'll be a wipe. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm a defender. I'm going to be running to my spot. I'm actually number 4. This one right here is 2. This is the thicket. There's a lot of fanatics. Make sure you put anti-barrier rounds on for this, because it's going to be very helpful. There's going to be an angelic, and if you don't remember, the angelic's going to block that tether box off. So you got to make sure you kill that angelic as soon as possible. One thing to know is after each defender enlightens, not all of them have to enlighten, but after a defender has enlightened on the first side, basically that's when the ads are going to start coming out on that specific side. So let's say if you're enlightened on 2, okay, and there's still an angelic on 3, the ads are not going to come out on 3 until you enlighten that side specifically, or you kill the angelic and the other ads on that side. So just keep an eye on that. See, then I'm going to come to 3. With this one's 3 right here. This is the hedges. I'm going to go over here. This sounds a little confusing if you think about it, but basically all it is you're just going to stay, defenders, you're going to stay in your position. Runners are going to go through the portals and literally just go back and forth. So runner 1 and 2 is literally going to go back 1 and 2 just so they can enlighten their defender. So as you can see, this is how you enlighten with the tether box mechanic. This is when you have the enlighten, there's going to be ads with overshield looking kind of like Templar looking overshield. You'll see what I'm talking about later on in this video. But see, as you can see, it looks like VG has tethered. I'm going to tether to this box. You can tether as many times as you need to unless someone says I need a Enlighten on 3 or Enlighten on 4, and as you can see, these are the Enlightened shield adds you need for the Enlightened buff. The Enlightened buff lasts for about 40 seconds, either 40 or 45 seconds, and as soon as it's at like, let's say like 10 seconds, you're going to say, okay, JVIT needs an Enlighten on 4, okay? Meaning your teammate, your runner, is going to come to you and Enlighten on your side. And I did actually help out the runners a little bit. Basically, as you can see, the portals have opened because the runner for 3 and 4 has Enlighten 3 and 4. You only need to do it once to open the portals. So if you Enlighten 3, the portal won't open on the 4 between 3 and 4. But if 1 and 2 runner has already Enlightened 2, then you can go from 3 to 2. But you wouldn't want to do that anyway. It wouldn't make any sense. That would happen rarely if the runner is doing someone else's defending relay Enlighten mechanic. And as you can see, Vex are sacrificing. This is where the main wipe mechanic comes in. As you can see, we actually wiped in that part. Yeah, be careful. Don't let the Vex sacrifice. Make sure you get make sure you're fast when you're running too, because that's where the problems come in when people are running. If they're not fast enough, then people are going to struggle with their Enlighten adds. They don't have the Enlighten buff, and they can't shoot the Minotaurs or Goblins because they don't have the Enlighten buff. Make sure you have the Enlighten buff. Make sure you always tether. But now comes the real question. JVIT, how do you beat the actual main encounter? Well, the main encounter for this is not only are you defending and running between different relays to help get their Enlighten buff, but you're also going to be worrying about the angelics. Now, when they actually have the 3 angelics spawn, you actually need to have every single person Enlighten at least once on each relay. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, once you Enlighten all the portals will open on each side. And once that happens, it'll say Undergrowth Defenses deployed. Once it says that after all 4 sides have been Enlightened, that is when 1 out of the 4 sides are going to get 3 angelics, left, middle, and right, on either 1, 2, 3, or 4. Any of those sides is going to start getting their angelics first. So let's say in this case, number 4 gets their 3 angelics first. Remember, the angelics are what's keeping the tether box surrounded by a barrier, so you need to make sure you kill the angelics so you can open up the barrier gun to get your Enlighten, because if you don't have your Enlighten, then that's bad, and you're going to just let the adds sacrifice to the conflux. Now, one more thing to mention is as long as you are Enlightening up to your tether box, you should be fine, because as you can see on the tether box, you can see it's gotten a lot bigger than it was before. You see how it originally was like a smaller, clear, blue, like, line kind of box thing? Well, basically what that means is, even if, let's say, if 3 Vex sacrifice in the beginning, that's a wipe, but every time you Enlighten, those stacks fill. So that means it's going to take a lot longer for the Vex to sacrifice because you are Enlightening up to the relay tower. The more you Enlighten to the relay, the harder it is for the Vex to sacrifice. So it'll require more Vex to sacrifice the conflux, which is a good thing. So if like 5 Vex sacrifice the conflux when you have like a lot of Enlightenment on the relay tower, you should be fine. And once you get to the 5th one, of course, it's the exact same thing. You get to kill all the angelics. This is similar to the first encounter. You just got to kill the angelics to open the tether box. Tether box is going to give you the Enlighten buff in this encounter. Make it so you can kill through the overshield adds, because without it, you can't kill through them. But overall, there's not too much to say about this encounter as well. All it is just defending, and then the other guys are running between 1 and 2. The first one's running between 1 and 2, and the other one's running between 3 and 4, which I showed you guys on the map. But if you guys are confused about something else on this encounter, let me know, and I will be sure to answer your question correctly. But this is going to be the final part of the second encounter. Basically what you need to do here is just kill all. It's just literally just add killing and angelic killing. On the second and third wave, they will spawn some supplicants. Basically kill those before they explode, because they do pretty hefty damage. So be careful, and overall, that's pretty much how you guys beat this encounter. Very, very easy, and you guys will have your loot box right next to the relay tower. So I hope you guys did find this second encounter helpful, As always, let's get right on to the third encounter, which is the actual Consecrated Mind boss. Let me just show you a few more gameplay pics of this really quick. Boys, now we are on the third encounter of the raid. This is the actual first boss fight of the raid, the Consecrated Mind Soul Inherent. So this is the giant harpy you'll be fighting from the first encounter, of course. Weapons of choice, there are no champions in this one, so you don't need to worry about champions too much. Divinity is really good. After its nerf, it's still good. You can also run, I think tractor cannon will work too. Mainly, the main thing you guys want to run for weapons is linear. So Sleeper, Storm Chaser, Typin, Cataclysmic, any good, you can even use Reed's Regret too. That's still good. Basically, in order to actually beat this encounter, we have two teams to talk about. Team Gambit and Team Eyes. So let's go over and how those work. But to actually start this, you actually want to connect the tether box to everyone up to the relay, which is the little plus sign on top of the tower. Once you connect that, the boss is going to spawn underneath, so do not stand in the middle or else he'll kill you. You will actually get this temporary enlightened buff, which there's no reason to have it, because that relay tower, you think you're going to be able to bank there. Well, you're not, because it's going to disappear. What you need to do is, okay, let's go over also super wise. So if you're a hunter, run either Golden Gun with the one shooter, Celestial Nighthawk. You can run Gathering Storm, that might work too. I think Night Stalker would work too. Run the single shot, because you'll deal more. See, I don't know about Tether, because the boss, you're going to be very mobile in this damage phase, because the boss is going to be moving a lot. So yeah, Titans run, I think you can run Bubble, because you got your Weapons of Light. That would actually work. And Warlocks don't run well, because like I said, this boss is going to be very mobile, and I would recommend running Nova Bomb or Chaos Reach. Anyways, let's stop talking about the supers and weapons. I'll go over more about that in the description below. And let's talk about how you beat this encounter. Let's go over Team Gambit first. Team Gambit is very easy. What you're doing is you're picking up motes and you're depositing them at the bank. However, you need 30 motes to deposit at each of the 4 locations. These are the same locations you use just as you were defending your relay towers from encounter 2. Literally the exact same thing. There's the 4 hallways, as you can see, this is an example. One hallway right down here, see I got 5 voltaic motes. It's gonna go, I'm gonna come over here and bank mine. Basically what you need to do is you need to look for yellow bar minotaurs, and you need to decide on which team is doing the pattern first. So it's gonna go 5, 10, 10, 5. So let's say, for example, JVIT, me. I'm picking up the first and last 5, because what you need to do is you need to have everyone at least pick up 10 motes. Challenge here is literally the exact same thing, except everyone is picking up 10 instead of 5 times 10, 5. Pretty easy, but you gotta be like really fast too, because if you're not fast enough, then the Vex are gonna make it over already at the end of the Conflux relay tower, and they're gonna sacrifice and wipe. So yeah, you want to pick up the motes as soon as possible. They're going to spawn. Now, let me tell you this. You'll know which location is going to spawn, because there's going to be a white beacon on top of the relay tower. Literally, the relay tower you were just defending from the second encounter. There's the same 4 sides. The alcove, thicket, I mentioned this in the second encounter. The underbrush and the hedges. You'll know where they are, because I showed a map in the second encounter, and you'll know where they are, trust me. Just follow along. So each minotaur you kill is going to drop 5 motes. You're going to pick up those 5 motes, and so let's say if I'm picking up the first 5, I'm going to go straight over to the alcove, which is, it's going to be 1 out of the 4 hallways is going to light up with a beacon. So you're going to go over to that beacon and deposit your motes. There's a little kind of like coin slot looking thing you deposit at when you're depositing the motes, and basically what you need to do is Now it's easy. You're just depositing. You're just playing Gambit. That's all you're doing. So it's just 5, 10, 10, 5. You're picking up motes from... I don't really need to explain this too much because it's Gambit. You guys should know how to play Gambit. If not, then that's fine. But basically, you see I just killed a Minotaur there. Basically what we want to do is make sure the Eyes team doesn't try to pick up any motes because that's going to mean extra motes for you and your team. So... let's say after I pick up the first 5, 10, so let's say Shark is the first 10, you can see him over there, and then Shade Boy, or whatever his name is the second 10. I'm going to deposit my last 5 motes, and as you can see, nothing has happened yet because, one, some people actually died with the motes. 2, one of the Eyes teammates have accidentally picked up a mote. That could happen. Or 3, if Vex sacrifice, it's going to take away 5 motes each. So not only will that consider a wipe, but each Vex, like each goblin, let's say, will take, there's only goblins up here, so each goblin's going to take away 5 motes. So be very careful and be very fast when you're depositing these motes. It's pretty self-explanatory, not too much to explain, but overall it's pretty easy. Obviously, as you can see, I'm killing the Minotaur right here. You see that white beacon over there? Just summarize this in a better way. Just look for the hallway that has a light coming up from the plus sign on top of the relay tower. As you can see that white beacon going up in there, that's your main destination you need to go to. You're going to pick up the 5 motes, so I'm the first 5. I'm going to go deposit them into the little coin slot. I'll just show you guys really quick. There's a little slot inside the thing, kind of like this right here. Looks kind of like a little coin slot. You put them in there. And then you stay over here and kill ads. Because if you just leave, you're just going to let them sacrifice. It's going to lead to a wipe and lose motes. So, yeah, that's pretty much Team Gambit. Not too much to explain. But you should have some good ad-clone weapons. Like, you can use a good submachine gun. Like, I've been using the submission from the Valve Disciple raid. You can use stuff like auto rifle. It doesn't really matter for Gambit team. Overall, pretty easy for Gambit team. Nothing else too much to explain. Remember, it's 5, 10, 10, 5. So JVIT is going to pick up the first and last 5 motes. Let's say, an example of a name, Bill's going to pick up, this is just an example, is the first 10, and then Joe is the second 10. And yeah, that's going to be it for Team Gambit. Let's actually go over on how Team Eyes works. Team Eyes is actually a little bit harder than Team Gambit, but if it's pretty easy to get down once you get the heck of it. It'll take like 1 or 2 tries to actually get the hang of it. But overall, this encounter, like I said, all the encounters are pretty straightforward. They're all pretty easy. There's not too much to explain in Team Gambit. Let's go over Team Eyes now. Calling by this photo, you guys may be confused, but however, I want you guys to look at this picture really quick, and I'm going to tell you guys on how to actually beat it. Now, the boss, when he starts coming up from the relay tower, he's actually going to start moving to 4 different hallways. One of them can be a washing machine area with platforms moving around. I think you guys seen that area. That's one where the angelics spawn when you're doing it's literally the same spots at the end where the angelics could spawn in the little short hallways. So basically what's going to happen is the boss is going to start moving to those 4 hallways, and he's going to actually drop the voltaic overflow, the same debuff from the first encounter. If you don't pick up the debuff, 5 seconds, it's a wipe. So you need to make sure you pick it up. Also, forgot to mention this in the first encounter, only have 1 person at a time pick it up, because if 2 people stand in it, then you're both going to get voltaic overflow. So just remember that, because that's actually going to waste time, and basically you have to use more res tokens. So be very careful on that. Basically what's going to happen is the boss is going to start spinning in a giant circle-ish. I'll show you guys an example in gameplay too. But basically what's going to happen is when the boss comes out, he's going to start moving around. So he's going to move to 4 different spots. So you can do one of this hallway right down here. These are the very short hallways too. I showed you just washing this machine over here. He could be right by the tether box, right behind the tether box, or right over here. Or you can be at another one on the far left as well, right in between 4 and 2, right, 4 and 1, which it would be perhaps this one right here, the one to my right. Basically, yeah, those are this one right here. I'll just show you guys right now. This is the one where you can also spawn in. There's 4 short hallways. The long hallways are for Gambit team. The short ones are for the Eyes team. Basically what's going to happen when you start the encounter, the boss is going to start moving to a random spot. So let's say, for example, he moves to washing machine. You and your team need to decide on who's picking up the first, second, and third spit. Literally the same exact thing from the first encounter. However, there's something different. When you pick up the spit, whoever's not picking up the spit needs to stand on the left and right away from the guy so they don't accidentally pick it up too. What's going to happen is the guy is either going to call out inner or outer. If you guys remember from that photo, the inner are the 3 eyes on left, top, and right. The 3 eyes that are closest to his red center eye. So you know how Harpy has a red center eye in the middle? Well, what I mean by the closest 3 is literally the 3 that are literally right next, that are literally surrounded by him. So, like, there's each fin he has 2 dots. So it's the one that's, like, technically the 3 that are closest to his red center eye. So, as for example, if someone says outer, okay, if someone says outer, then you're going to shoot the 3 farther away fins. So I'll show you some right now. I pick a Voltaic Overflow. And it is, look at that, it's outer because it's the farthest one. So if you are the Voltaic Overflow, of course, you're gonna be shooting the top one. If the guy on the left who is not taking a Voltaic, which he probably already has, because I'm actually doing third for this one, the third teammate for picking up the spit. He's gonna shoot the left either closest or farthest outer inner eye, and then the guy on the right, the guy who's standing on the right, is gonna be shooting the farthest and closest inner or outer eye on the right side. So overall, pretty easy encounter. There's not too much to explain about this part too. Overall, it's literally rinse and repeat, so it's just totally random. So I don't have Voltaic Overflow, and you should never pick it up anyway, because if you have it, then you are going to die with another stack. So as you can see, looks like I don't know what that guy's name is. Zaman picks it up. Looks like it's inner, so it's literally the 3 closest little dots to his eye. You see how I shot the left inner eye? Well, that is the closest eye. Basically, after damage phases, when damage phases start, I can't even speak right now. Sorry, guys. Damage phase starts is when the boss is going to move to one of the relay towers, and this is where damage is going to start. Now, I'm going to be telling you right now, you need to be very mobile when the boss is active, because he's going to be moving a lot, and if you don't move at all when he's going back, then there's going to be this invisible barrier between you and the boss that's going to spawn, and that's basically going to end damage phase. So basically, you need to actually make sure you are doing as much damage to him as possible as well. Basically, you got to have him come back all the way over here. And pretty much there's not too much else to explain about this encounter. You can shoot all the red eyes. This actually leads to another white mechanic too. If you don't shoot all the red eyes, it will actually lead to red. Overall, pretty easy encounter, not too much to explain. It's very self-explanatory. If you don't remember eyes or Gambit team, eyes, you're just literally calling out inner or outer, and Gambit, you're calling out, you're literally playing Gambit 5, 10, 10, 5 modes. And he got stuck behind the door. That's the barrier I was talking about that can close off, because you see how other people are on their side. Anyways, that's how you guys beat the Consecrated Mind first boss. It's a pretty short, easy encounter. Not too much to go over. But anyways, we're going to move on to the jumping puzzle and the final boss of the raid, the Sanctified Mind. Let's go over that now.
Guardian down. Guardian down. Guardian down. Guardian down. Guardian down.
Alright guys, now the moment we've all been waiting for. We are on the final encounter of the Garden of Salvation raid, the Sanctified Mind, Soul Inherent boss. Let's actually go over on how this encounter works, but first, as you can see, there's a bunch of tether plus signs all over the ground. We'll actually go over that soon in this encounter. What you want to do is you actually want to split your team into two different teams. However, there are going to be two teams at Gambit now, instead of just a different mode, 5, 10, 10, 5, and you're going to be splitting your team. You're going to be having two people on each team, and then you're going to be having two people defending. So one guy defends left, one guy defends right. So all in all, you're going to have 4 people playing Gambit and 2 people defending the semicircle arena plate looking area where I'm standing on right now. Basically how this encounter is going to work is you actually have to... it's just like Gambit is the main source of this encounter, which we'll actually go over on how that works. I'm actually going to put up a map right now. So let me put up a map right now so I can show you guys what I'm talking. Let's go over the map layout of this encounter. Now, as you can see, there are platforms. You got the locks, the portals, and the priority platforms and the tether boxes. There are 2.5 tether boxes on left and 2.5 on right, meaning the middle one could either pop up as blue or orange first. It's random no matter what. It's going to be random when you start damage phase, or well, after you do damage phase, of course. It's going to change the tether box locations, or if you start damage, or if you start the encounter in general. You got the priority platforms, which are the platforms you want to worry about, because once you tether up to the little plus sign relay locks, those are actually going to rebuild the platforms, because the boss actually does take away a platform every time you open up one of the portals. Now, the portals are easy. If you can see on the boss, he has 2 weak spots, which are the giant wart hole things in his body, which is kind of weird. You got to hit the bottom left knee, which leads to the blue portal, which is actually the portal Team 1 and Team 2 are going to go in first, and then the orange portal, which is the final portal on the top right shoulder. And then you got yourself... yeah, like they said, you got the tether locks, which is going to rebuild the platforms, and you got the tether boxes too. And then once you come out with the moats, you're going to actually spawn on the back of where the rally flag was just placed, literally like where you spawn in from when you wipe, of course, your spawn point for putting the rally flag down. But let's actually go more into detail. We'll actually talk about weapons soon here. And supers, Titan, you want to run Bubble. Warlock, you want to run the Well. With Boots of the Assembler would be nice, and Luna Factions to increase your damage. And then Hunters, you want to run Gathering Storm or Celestial Nighthawk Golden Gun. To start the encounter, you actually want to shoot the boss, which is floating in a really cool pattern. It's from orange to blue. This is going to correspond with the emotes you're going to be picking up in this encounter. So let's actually go over, I'm actually showing you guys the relay locations as of now. What's going to happen is when the encounter starts, you're going to be greeted by a bunch of goblins and 8 angelic, which is going to keep the 2 tether boxes closed off with a white barrier on around the box. So what's going to happen after you kill the angelic, that is actually when the boss's 2 weak spots are going to pop up. They only pop up when you kill the angelic. So what's going to happen is Team 1, you guys are going to go into the portal first. The portal's going to open. As you can see, the boss did a little animation there with his hand where he's actually going to slam down to the ground. And that's why you can see the little ghost fragment on the top right speaking, because that's actually him making the sound when he destroys a platform. You'll actually see the difference in when we get back in the portal. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna head into the blue portal. See, it was just me going in there because no one, the other person didn't get into the portal in time, or they didn't see the portal at all. But you'll know when the portal opens because you're going to be shooting the weak spot on his left knee. What's going to happen is you can either get Minotaurs or Goblins. We got Goblins and Minotaurs, which is only going to give you 15 motes. If you get Harpies, consider yourself lucky because you're going to get an additional 3 motes, which is 18. Once you come out of that portal, you're actually going to say pull left, meaning that the team on the outside are going to shoot the blue portal again so you can come out. And that means as soon as the person inside the island says pull left, the guy with the motes, then Team 2 is going to go in. And since I didn't have the other guy going with me, then I had to go in again. And once you bank the motes, just like third encounter, you're going to get an enlightenment buff, which actually allows you to deal damage to the shielded adds, because there are shielded goblins in this encounter. So make sure you bank the motes so you can actually get your buff. And as you can see, they said pull left. I go in again because we missed some motes and we don't have enough. And as you can see, we got goblins. Little unfortunate, I wanted to get harpies, but we were actually pretty close to building it no matter what, so we didn't need to get harpies anyway, because you need 4 guys to actually build one side. So in all, you need to do 4 times on each side, so 4 on left and 4 on right. So 2 guys, team 1 is 2 people, and then team 2 is 2 people on left and right. So you're going to be doing the exact same thing on the right side. As you can see, I said pull left. You can't hear my voice because I didn't put audio in it or something. And as you can see, once I bank the last 10 motes, actually be careful too, because when the boss takes away a platform, the floor is going to turn red. If you stand in it for too long, you will die. So bank your motes in there, and it'll actually say the tether is pulsing with light energy. That is actually a good thing because it makes it so that the Vex cannot sacrifice to that position. Something I forgot to mention in the third encounter, which is if you fill up the bank in the Gambit, which is 30, then the Vex won't be able to sacrifice anyway. And as you can see, we got on the right side, and it looks like the teammate actually did come in with me. You're gonna get, since we got goblins again, it's gonna be 15. If you get harpies, like I said, it's 18. And then team 2 is gonna do the exact same thing. And also for the enlightenment, yeah, make sure once you come out with the motes and you bank them, you stay at that side until you're ready to go to orange. So it's gonna go team 1, bank, go inside, get motes, bank, and then they're going to stay, and then team 2 goes in, does the exact same thing, and then the exact same thing on the right side as well. Let's actually go over defending positions now. If you are a defender, you are in charge of killing the adds, well, trying to kill the adds, as long as you're playing smart about it. And you're actually in charge of killing the Cyclopses on the left or right, depending on which defender you are. So if you're defending left, you're going to be in charge of the left side. If you're defending right, you're going to be in charge of the right side. They're both high priorities. They do the exact same thing, where if Vex sacrifice to the Comet Flux, the relay tower, then it's going to lead to a wipe. So don't let that happen. And yeah, let's go over more on how it works. For build team, like I mentioned earlier about the tether boxes with the relay plus signs. These are actually for rebuilding platforms when the boss takes away a pawn by him slamming onto the ground when you open up a portal on either left or right. Does not matter. It's going to be a random plate he takes away. As you can see, you see the little plus signs over there. What you're going to do is you're going to connect to another person, and they're going to connect to that little relay plus sign. And you got to actually have a good distance between you and him. You only need 2 guys to do it too. You don't need 3 guys to get kind of messy. So, yeah, just a clear reminder of that. Not too much to say about defending. Defending is literally just, can you stay at your side and kill ads and kill the Cyclopses. So I don't really need to go over too much about defending. However, you do really want to be careful when you are building as well. It does the exact same thing. If you stand on it, you're going to get shocked, and if it rebuilds, you will wipe. So be careful. Do not stand on the platform that's being rebuilt. And the Cyclopses are a very dangerous threat too, because if you don't kill them, it's gonna mess up the entire fire team. They can actually kill someone, and actually surprisingly one shot, especially for a 940 light level raid. This was actually a 940 light level raid back in Shadowkeep. So as you can see, there's a little relay tower right here. I actually built one of the back ones. You don't need to build the back ones. The front ones, the front 4 are actually the ones you mainly want to worry about, because these are the ones that will help you the most, and they're right near the relay towers too. And you won't get, because when they take away a plate, you're going to be standing in Vex Radiolarian fluid. So be very careful of that. And remember, the tether. There's 11 tether boxes, tether relay plus sign things in total. So I actually showed a map of where they are all at. And as you can see, I actually went inside when I was defending, because someone wasn't paying attention to where they were going, but that is okay, because I am about to pick up all 10 of my modes. 10 is the max you can hold. You cannot hold more than 10 unless you have another guy in with you, where you can hold like 20. Actually, no, you can't even hold 20, because the max is 18 if you have harpies. So yeah, there's actually a few overload champions in here, but they spawn pretty rarely sometimes. So yeah, you don't need an overload mod, if I have to be perfectly honest. Like a Gallahorn shot should be able to do the trick. As you can see, I'm going to go on left and bank these last 10 motes on orange. As you can see, I'm getting shocked. If you stand on for too long, then you are going to die. And that Vex almost sacrificed on the left side, as you can see. And yeah, 1 sacked on orange, meaning that it's the exact same thing for third encounter. If 1 Vex sacrifices, it's going to lead to a wipe, but not only that, it'll actually take away motes, which will take away 5 motes each for every Vex sack. It's only going to be goblins that sack to the conflux, nothing else. So yeah, nothing too much more to say. Just keep, if you're defending, you don't necessarily need to build if you don't feel comfortable. Have some other people build after a certain team comes out from their specific portal. I cannot speak today, and also I'm kind of sick. I'm kind of feeling a little sick today too. My voice is a little dry, so I might need to drink some water or something when I'm recording this next time I do another raid guide. So yeah, that's honestly not too much else to explain. But after you bank 30 motes on the left and right, you need to have 60 motes to actually start damage phase. The boss is going to be doing a mechanic where he's going to hold up a plus sign, kind of like the plus signs that from the original encounters, and what you're going to do is match the color tether box with the correct colored tether. And if you pair it up with the incorrect tether, it'll actually explode and it'll actually wipe the encounter. And what's going to happen is when you connect, you actually need to decide on the 3 people who are actually tether teaming, which is basically the people who are using the corresponding tether box with the corresponding tether little plus that the boss holds in his hand after you bank all the motes. And once you tether him, he's gonna be stunned a little bit, and you have about, I would say, 10 seconds to do as much damage as you can to the boss, meaning run div. If you were running div, run that. You can run rockets as well, rockets and Izanagi's, which is a good strat. And you can also run linears too. Linears are a very, very good exercise to use in this encounter. Overall, this is all just rinse and repeat. However, this boss does have an enraged timer after the 4th round. The 4th round, after that, you're done. That's your last chance. Overall, I would have to say this is a pretty easy raid guide, if I would say so myself. Not too much to explain. Just remember, Gambit's the exact same thing from the last encounter. Same with defending. However, you have the building to worry about too. And Gambit, they can also build to after, let's say Team 1 already has their modes, they can build. And you should only build once all the ads in the room are dead, because if you just build and they're just gonna walk past you, and you can't do anything when you're tethered. You can't shoot, you can't do anything. So yeah, make sure the tether box is closed when the ads are out, because then you're gonna have a real rough time with that. But overall, very, very easy raid guide, if I say so myself. Let me just show you guys a few quick gameplay pics right here of me killing that Cyclops in the top left, since I am defending. And as you can see, the platform been removed because every time you open a portal left or right, I'm going to repeat this so you guys understand this. And as you can see, I can't shoot these guys with the shields because the Enlighteneds are actually in charge of shooting the shields. And once they shoot when you're enlightening, you actually want to make sure you shoot as many shields as you can. Don't kill them. Let the defending people kill them. I mean, you could still kill them because that's the point of the enlightenment buff. You're supposed to kill the ads with the shields. My gosh, my voice is dry. But yeah, overall, like I said, it's just really, really easy to understand. It's pretty easy to understand in like a few rounds. But overall, yeah, that's pretty much on how you guys do the Garden of Salvation raid guide for the entire raid guide in general. And also, one more thing to mention is if the Vex are about to sacrifice, what you could do is actually push them away from the tether box, because for some reason it won't count towards a Vex sacrifice, which is very nice. It doesn't count in, for some reason it does count as a Vex sacrifice in the 3rd encounter when you do push them away, but that's just 3rd encounter, this is 4th encounter, so it's different. And this boss is a little bit bugged too, I will say that, so yeah. But overall, I do hope you guys find this raid guide helpful. I'm actually going to show you guys a few more clips when we kill the boss too. And as you can see, he's about to put looks like the orange plus sign, so that means you need to use the right side tether box, which right is orange and blue is left. If you are facing the spawn, if you are facing the boss from the front, where you spawn in when you get to the encounter. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did, feel free to give it a like, comment, and subscribe. I know you guys been waiting for the raid guide for about months now, but I'm telling you right now, it's finally here. It's finally here. And I also have the video on how to get Divinity. I'll put that in the description below. But anyways, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy it, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And as you can see, I threw a Nova Bomb right there, which did absolutely nothing, so make sure you run well. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, my name is JVIT, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, everyone. See you later.
Guardian down. Guardian down. Guardian down. Guardian down. Guardian down.